Hello, welcome to the Daily Bible Podcast. My name is William Hemsworth. Thank you so much for joining me for today's show. Well, today we're going to continue on in Matthew chapter 21. We're going to look at verses 21 through 22. And those verses say, Jesus replied, "Truly I tell you, if you have faith and do not doubt, not only can you do what was done to the fig tree, but also you can say to this mountain, 'Go, throw yourself into the sea,' and it will be done. If you believe, you'll receive whatever you ask for in prayer." So, of course, Jesus has just cursed the fig tree, and as we talked about yesterday, it's more than this tree not bearing fruit. It's because it wasn't the season for figs. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen, but it's also an analogy for Israel. Like I said, for Israel being withered away. Basically for its destruction, which happened in AD 70 when they rebelled against Roman occupation and Rome totally destroyed them. Okay? And that's what leads to our verses today. So verse 21, Jesus talks about this mountain. You know, if you have enough faith, you can say to this mountain, "Go, throw yourself into the sea," and it will be done. So there's some speculation on this, but it may refer to the Mount of Olives or Mount Zion, which was the Temple Mount. And it just depends where Jesus was on the road between Bethany and Jerusalem, because remember, he went into Bethany from Jerusalem, when this whole scenario had taken place. So if he's thinking about the Mount of Olives, if he's pointing to the Mount of Olives, it kind of brings to mind Zechariah 14:4, which depicts the Messiah standing on a mountain when it splits in two. But personally, I think he's pointing towards the Temple Mount, especially with what we just talked about with the couple of verses with the withering of the fig tree. It's talking about the coming destruction of the temple and the temple sacrificial system that has ceased to exist since AD 70. And then in verse 22, Jesus says, "If you believe, you'll receive whatever you ask for in prayer." Now, a lot of word of faith preachers, health and wealth people, kind of see this as a blank check. That if you have enough faith, God will give you that Lamborghini and all that stuff. Again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with success. There's nothing wrong with having nice things. However, that line of thinking, that theology, is absolutely backwards. Jesus is not talking about a blank check here. We need to look at Scripture in context. So in that context, he is not offering a blank check, but is promising that those with faith will see the end of the age and the coming of the next. So I hope that helps shed some light on these verses here. So thank you for joining me on this episode of the Daily Bible Podcast. Please visit my website at williamhemsworth.com. God bless you, and thank you for listening each and every day. Have a fantastic day.